Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm Shauna, host of Real Talk powered by CMD. And I am so glad to have my friend and former client, I guess, Adi Kunalic. Did I say it right? Yeah, co-founder of opendorse. And opendorse is a technology solution for athletes at every level, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much. It's funny. This is a really great, I was thinking about it this morning. This is a great lesson in make the cold call and take the cold call because Adi and I met, gosh, so many years ago. I don't even know, maybe six or more, when you cold called me when I was at an agency, and I was fascinated by what you were doing. And I took the call, and then it was just kind of from there, I really became an advocate of yours personally, because I think you're amazing, and opendorse. And so thank you so much again for coming here today, and would love for you to share what you guys are doing at opendorse. And it's almost your 10th anniversary, I think, right?
It is. Yeah, we're coming up. It'll be next year since we there's always like, what's the official date that we launched the
Yeah.
company? And what's the official like time when we started thinking about it? But yeah, it's been my business partner and I, we've been in business for 11 years now, and then started tinkering on the idea for Open Doors in 2012. So coming up on a decade together, which is pretty crazy to
That's
think about.
incredible. And congratulations on the success. I mean, just the evolution as I've watched it and, has been, again, I think I said earlier, like fascinating, but it's so interesting. And so I would love for you to share like what that evolution has been from the, in that inception of the idea to where you guys have taken it today.
Well, yeah, so I'll get into it then. I just want to give you, Sean. I mean, you made jokes about the cold calling, and I always I admire people who give people chances early on. And like when we were first getting going, and I think I had reached out to you on LinkedIn, right?
Mm.
And as you can imagine, we were a small tech company out of Lincoln, Nebraska, and I'm over here, a one-person sales team, marketing, and my agenda at the time, or my weekly sort of KPI that I set for myself, is that I wanted to get connected with as many agencies in New York, on the coasts. And so I remember I came across your stuff. I saw some of your sports background, like some of the stuff with the that you had done in the NBA, and as a former athlete, and I'm like, here's a marketing leader that I would love to chat with, right? Kind of seen all that, and just shot you a note. And it was just a very kind of genuine, like, hey, I would love to have a conversation with you if you're ever open to it. And
Yeah.
I remember you got me something back, and that's how some of some of your most meaningful relationships, I think, get going, is
Yeah.
because someone who has at that moment way more leverage than
Mm.
you do, who just decides, you know what, this looks interesting. This guy didn't just send a generic message to me,
Yeah.
and wanted to say hello, and I'm willing to take that. And I think that just again goes, kudos to you for being a person who does that, because it creates long-term relationships, and I really appreciate it.
It does. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you.
So yeah, so Open Doors, wow. So the evolution of Open Doors has been crazy, right? So we started the company, my business partner Blake Lawrence and I, we started it in 2012,
Mhm.
and really the problem that we wanted to solve at the time, and both of us played football at Nebraska. So we met in 2007. We meet on campus, we become roommates, we become friends, and he was a linebacker, I was a kicker. He always likes to make jokes about that for some reason, even though I had way more playing time, and I spent time in the NFL.
Uh,
So those are our back and forth jokes against each other. But we formed a relationship, a friendship. We ended up starting a company called Her Dad. It was a social media agency in 2010. That was sort of our first, I guess, journey into entrepreneurship. And then
mhm.
the idea for Open Doors really became because we were trying to solve a problem. In 2012, one of our friends went to the NFL. I personally got to play in the NFL for a little bit, but we had our team was really good at the time. And so we ended up having about a dozen of our buddies who are now professional athletes who saw their following skyrocket overnight, right?
Yeah.
So our good friend Prince Mukamara, he ended up getting drafted in the first round. He goes from 15,000 followers to 100,000 followers in one night.
Wow.
He calls us and he goes, "Hey, Adi, Blake, like, what do I do now? I have all these brands that are hitting me up. How do I know who to work with? Like, what's my value? Like, they're asking me how much would it cost for me to do a post or to show up somewhere, and I have no idea what to tell them. And I also don't know which one of these businesses are real and
Yeah.
legit." Um, he had a lot of questions, and on top of that, he wanted to know, how do I grow my following, because I want
Right.
to have more opportunities. So we sat there and we're like, we're doing some discovery ourselves. Like, really, there was no technology at the time that existed that would
Yeah.
create opportunity for athletes to really understand how to build their brand, understand how to monetize it, understand how to grow it, understand the value of it. And so we set out to create opendorse for Prince and then some of our other teammates, and then eventually thousands of athletes who we learned that were going literally through the same issues and the same problems, and they really had no resource, they had no technology. And so that was the kind of the early days of opendorse.
Yeah.
And over the last decade, it's kind of reinvented itself several different times.
Yeah. Well, reinvented itself through, I think very much through your and Blake's, strategic lens. And really, it's one of the things I've admired about you as the way that you guys have made decisions so much. First it was to make an impact on the people and the brands, which is obviously so close to what, I believe in. But then also to make the changes that you needed to do for the business over time. And, I think it's when you explained to me when you moved more to a software company, and that and how you did that, I think was really awesome. And again, I think it was like the strategic way you moved the business, but ended up growing it so that you could make even a bigger impact.
That's right. That's right. One of the coolest parts, Shauna, about us, are not us, but just like about our setting our first vision, right? There's two things that have never changed since we started opendorse. So it's been
Okay.
10 years now. Our purpose, which
Uh-huh.
is something great with people we care about. That's been the foundation. That's how we like. It's the thing that we say every Monday. It's what everyone like. If you, it's so much part of our DNA and how we hire, how we fire, like who we bring on, like why we exist.
Yeah.
That this has not changed. And then our vision is the
Yeah.
other thing that hasn't changed, which was to help every athlete.
Huh.
Me as a former player in the NFL, I wasn't going to get all the big deals, right? But in 2012, the majority of the deals would go to your top stars, right? So your Tom
Right.
Brady, Manning's, like the pie wasn't big enough, and frankly, a lot of the agents, like, and this is to no fault, but they didn't have the resources or capacity to call on the local sponsor who maybe wants to pay me $500 for a deal where they would only get $50 on that, right? It
Right.
just didn't make financial sense to do that. So we're like, how do we increase the pie? How do we allow, because we knew that the even if you were the 50th person on that 52, 53 man roster on an NFL team, like you did have influence and there was
Yeah.
brands that work with you. It just, they had no easy way to get a hold of you
Right.
and so we wanted to increase the pie. We wanted to help every athlete. And so the transition to becoming more of a SaaS driven company in 2015 was that a lot of athletes, the common issue always was, how do you get a brand and an athlete to connect to do a deal and to
Mhm.
that transaction? That was kind of part of why we started opendorse. But what we
Okay.
realized, a lot of athletes, they weren't inherent marketers.
No.
Also, they didn't really know what to say on social, how to
Yeah.
do it. And the number one problem that they had is that they didn't have any content to share, right?
Yeah.
So I remember when I got graduated in Nebraska, I got 2 CDs and they had all my photos and some videos of me on them. And that was it. Like, here you go. Like, this is all the stuff.
Yeah.
But why wasn't this given to me in, through a Dropbox? Like, why was
Yeah.
I still had to go manually do this? So we're like, why don't we use our technology, which made it really easy for any user to send any other user content. Why
Hmm.
don't we go to these universities who are literally sitting on thousands and thousands of photos and videos of athletes, and we create a portal, we create a connection where these schools could easily give media to athletes and allow athletes to build their brands in an easier format. And
Got
that
it.
was sort of the acceleration for us that we needed, because now we could help every athlete. You could be the starting quarterback at Clemson, or
Mhm.
you could be the third string receiver at Ohio State. And guess what? Your photographer is likely taking photos of you at practice. And this was a really cool tool for you to continue to build your brand, because those 4 years that you're on the team, you are building a brand.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that is a incredibly meaningful experience if you take advantage of it. And
Mhm.
so we wanted to empower athletes to do that consistently, and to feel confident that they didn't have to be um, just like professional marketers, that they could
Right.
just do it one by one. And that is, I think, where a lot of our, again, the foundation continue to live in that vision. And certainly now has, as more and more of what we do has finally come to market. And
Yeah.
I feel like we're trying to convince people that athletes are powerful and they have a meaningful voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys are, I mean, the name, image, and likeness, NIL, is the hot topic, to say the least recently. And you guys are right in the mix of it. So tell us what you guys are doing in that space.
Oh man,
If you
another
can.
that's a great question. So I think the when I think about it, it's we have been at this. This is what I try to explain to people all the time. It's like name, image, and likeness, and the technology that we've been providing to the professional space, right,
Right.
for years, specifically to this, which is the name, image, and likeness of professional athletes, and providing compliance tools and transaction tools and a place where a marketplace, where any brand can go and find um, a NFL player, an NBA player, a
Yeah.
MLB, a NASCAR driver, where they can all find these individuals in one place and work with them. That's literally what we've been doing for so long. And there was always this idea, or at least we were always thinking that, man, wouldn't it be so cool that if opendorse is still around, with how much technology we're providing to the college space, the student athletes, as well as the professional athletes, that if the rules ever change, we would be able to literally combine all of the institutional knowledge that we have as a business,
Yeah.
what we preach on a daily basis, what we believe in as former student athletes who have literally seen this problem.
Yeah.
So cool to be able to provide tech to if the NCAA ever were to change their legislation and allow student athletes to get compensated.
Wow.
And then what do you know?
Here we are.
The rumblings, came out there, and we were looking at it like, no freaking way. This is got to be the most opportune time for us. Like we have been building, Shauna, we have been building this company for almost a decade,
Yeah,
literally for this moment.
that's
And so
amazing.
for the market conditions to align in our favor, and to do something that literally this is the belief system, right? This is what
Right.
we were born to do.
Mhm.
There hasn't been a more rewarding experience, and therefore, right, like, what are we doing? We are
Yeah.
providing a host of different products, and it's because there's massive demand, and
Mhm.
a lot of our existing collegiate departments are already working with us on different things, whether it's our Ready program, which is educating student athletes on name, image, and likeness, preparing them for understanding what their brand is all about, how to monetize it, all the way to our monitoring tool, which is opendorse Monitor, which
Yeah.
provides institutions compliance tools that allow them to observe any transactions that are going to be happening between brands and athletes, and being able to audit those and different, so providing just oversight and insight to those things. And And then opendorse deals, which is sort of this evolution of where opendorse started in our kind of early days marketplace, but then bringing that to market, not just for professional athletes, but then also when these rules change and when NIL goes live in a couple of weeks here, that student athletes are able to opt in to those deals as well, and have their own, be able to be in control and make their own decisions to say, hey, I'm now to work with brands. And by the way, I'm doing it in the most compliant, in a safe environment with people who have been doing this for 10 years and not someone who started their company 6 months ago.
It's incredible. It's incredible because I think that so many people will have resistance to NIL, and a lot of it is because of that fear of like who to trust and people who are trying to take advantage. And from a player's perspective, is it safe or not? And so it's just amazing the way that it's all kind of like come together. And it truly is, again, it just lines up with everything that you said about your purpose and your vision and empowering the athlete, and and also having that impact on the brand. It's amazing.
Yeah, no,
Congratulations.
thank you. No, I think your your comment on just like people's fear is right. I mean, there's an inherent fear of things that you don't fully understand,
Right.
and that are still in a way being worked on, and things haven't been completely official yet and whatnot. People think that the first thought that comes to a lot of people's heads is like, oh, car dealership paying an athlete to do something, right? And I can tell you right now, there's a lot more to it than just that. Like, that's going to be a fraction of ways that I would say local sponsors or companies are going to engage with athletes. I think if I could summarize maybe opendorse position in this whole space, and why I feel so confident, is that this was not opportunistic for us.
Right.
There are certain areas of it, yes, right, but we didn't start this company a year ago because we're like,
because of it
is coming and now we got to do something about it. Like, you were one of the first people, right, that I reached out to like 6 years ago, and my pitch to you back then was like, hey, Shauna, we believe that athletes are powerful, they have voices, and they should be worked with, and they are when you compare them against influencers, they are more engaging. And so you were someone that listened to that like, oh, I would love to learn more about that. But we were saying this for a very long time. And so speed up to now everyone's like, oh yes, athletes are powerful and they want to do this. So it's like, we're not just jumping into this because there is demand there or there's opportunity and whatnot. So I think that being mindful of that, but then also understanding that we have been working with collegiate institutions and athletic departments for going on 5 years now. We have over 100 different partners who trust us, not to mention all the professional, sports organizations, the NFL and whatnot. So if you think about, those people will not work with you unless you're taking precautions, unless you're really assessing how you're going to go about business, unless you're doing it the right way, unless you as a company and as a leadership team have integrity in what you do. I'm sure, I mean, you know this better than I do, that in sports specifically, building lasting relationships is very difficult, right? And there has to be trust. You have to execute. You have to deliver, because it's a performance-driven industry, if you will, right? And so I think that's what we kind of rely on, and we hope that people who are dabbling in the space will at least give us a shot to see what we have, and hopefully we can serve them the way that we've been serving everyone else for a while.
Absolutely. And you're getting more than a shot, Adi, and you and Blake surely deserve it. So as you've been talking, I'm hoping the listeners have really picked up on some of what I, again, admire so much about you, and that is your leadership qualities. And, I think you talked about purpose and vision and your mantra, and those are all, I think, a part of the opendorse culture that is so unique. And having that be that steady drumbeat that you never compromise. But I think that that's so much because of who you are, who Blake is. And I've really championed your leadership for a while. I remember I had you come in and speak to my team, and share your vision of leadership. And so, before I let you go here, I would love for you to talk a little bit about your leadership style and perhaps give some tips to people about what you find as keys for your success.
That's right. So thank you for the compliments, and just so everyone knows too, is like you and I go way back on this, because I this was one of the things that I really enjoyed about our first couple of conversations, is that every time we talk, you're recommending a book that I should read, and I'm always like, oh my God, yes. And then I jump on that, and then we're kind of going back and forth, and I have sent people to you too, whether it um, when there's been times where I have, whether it's professional females who are looking to be
Yeah,
strong, like I'm like, hey, I have a mentor. You need to go talk to her, and she will literally help you understand how to navigate this situation. And
thank
so
you.
I've always enjoyed and have valued our relationship in that sense. But yeah, I mean, I think where um, where leadership really started for me is, um, there's a part of me that at times feels that leadership can be an inherent thing that people have.
Right.
Can it be learned? Absolutely. But then there are some people, and this is just through personal experience, where like they just have it. And it's
Yeah.
because it's just the questions they ask, the curiosity they have.
Mhm.
I think just willingness to, or maybe I would say the sort of standard that they have for themselves,
Yes.
always a really good key, because that when someone says leadership through, or lead by example, that's what it is. You have such
Yeah.
a high standard for yourself that people around you are like, well, God, like, Abby's doing that, I have to do that, right? That's an
Yeah.
easy way to lead by example. So I think that that's sort of one of the things. So when I go back to thinking about people having the inherent thing, but I also think that like something that's helped me, and if I'm giving someone guidance, I always say is preparation. I was like, leadership is the most selfless thing there is.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
I was like, if you can if you're in a situation and you're even thinking about how it's going to help you out, I was like, you're already in the wrong room, right? I was like,
Yeah.
leadership really is about, you are investing so much time in the people that report directly to you.
Hmm.
The fulfillment that you get from those people having success is what gives you energy and what makes you go out of your way to make that happen. So
It
I was
does.
like, so you don't actually see the result of that until on the tail end of it, when they're
Yeah.
having success. And it's so rewarding and
So
so
rewarding.
explain it. But like, I think every good strong leader out there, whether you've only been doing it for a couple of years or you've done it for, you always have like 5 or 6 people that you have had profound impact on that are just doing amazing things. And maybe when you first started working together, they didn't even see themselves as strong professionals, and now they're just out there, they're kicking ass, and you're just so freaking proud
Yes.
of, and
Yeah.
that is legit what you seek. And so
True. Fills you up.
it does. It fills you up. So then your entire life as a professional becomes trying to find that
Yeah.
almost fix, right? Because like you have so much, you put so much weight on trying to create success in someone else, and then the sort of byproduct of that is that the people that you
Yeah.
work with, they're thankful for that. And a lot of times, and this is again, even the greatest leaders, a lot of times, some of the people that you've helped with your help along the way, they might not even realize it. They're
Right.
just really excelling, and they're like, man, I'm just killing it. And it's okay. That's
Yeah.
like not your job to take that away from them. And
Nope.
even if they say, hey, Adi, you helped me do this, and it's like, just reverse it and say, hey, listen, I just got out of your way, and I
Yeah.
may be here and there, like, but this is your thing. And then, but you get to sleep at night knowing that that comment came to you,
Yeah.
that you had a really big impact on that individual. And
Yeah.
that is the most satisfying feeling that you can have. And so that's maybe me explaining what leadership should feel like,
Yeah.
right? Because all the greatest leaders, they all have a short list of people that they've had big, and they just love those people because of that journey. Now,
So
the
true.
thing I would look at, or maybe the things that have kept me more focused and sharp on how to continue to be a good leader is preparation. I
Yep.
mentioned that earlier, and I tell people all the time, I'm like, leadership is about you showing up more prepared than the person that's reporting to you, to your one-on-ones, to your same
So
pagers,
true.
because you have already thought about how you can help them in the next 90 days. You have reviewed the last year of notes. Every time that's preparation.
Yeah.
And you probably know better than they do where they're going to be a year from now. So it's not about you saying, hey, what are your goals? Like, yes, it's a combined effort, but sometimes people don't always, they're not going to be, oh, I already know what I want to do. It's like, no, your job as a leader is to see their blind spots.
Yeah.
To not necessarily call them out directly, but be like, hey, here's an improvement area for you. And here's where we should double down on this strength of yours. Like, that to me is leadership. And without preparation, there's no way for you to show up to be able to do that the right way.
Absolutely.
And I could go on for hours on other things, but those are some kind of like small things that I feel like sometimes someone's like, hey, so how do you really improve your maybe your management skill of somebody, or like just getting the team on board? I'm like, listen, dude, it's about selflessness. It's about accountability. It's about you being more prepared than everyone on your team, because it's literally not about you. And your department will grow if everyone else is just literally performing like crazy, because you've spent so much time making sure you put them in the right seat, in the right spot to succeed, and then you get the benefit from that. And so what else do you want, you know?
Yeah. You are a special one, Adi. Thank you so much. It's like, I'm gonna treasure listening to this one again. And so thank you so much. And I just could wish you and Blake and your whole team continued success and continue our friendship. So thank you so much. And I'll let you get back to making great things happen with opendorse.
Absolutely, Shauna, always a pleasure. And yeah, thank you for having me on, and let's connect again soon. Appreciate you.
Thank you.